staff mastery starts here. It starts right now. Start with the staff in either hand, and you're going to warm up the wrist. You're going to start to build some strength, some speed, some power. You're just twisting back and forth. If you want to master the moves of the bow staff, this is where you start. Get stronger wrists, stronger forearms, more flexible. Flexibility, strength, speed, power, all the things that you need to master the basics of the bow staff. Once you've done about 30 seconds on this hand, put it into the other hand, and you're going to start to do the same twist. The twisting just gets the blood flowing into the joint, put some pressure, some resistance onto the muscles so they start to get stronger. If you want to master the bow, this is how you do it. You get stronger hands first, more flexible wrists. After 30 seconds on each hand, go into a hand-to-hand pass. You're going to be doing some freestyle today in this workout. You've got to be able to control it. You go from one hand to the other hand, just back and forth, pushing out. Slow it first and then gradually start to increase your speed. You'll be able to move this very quickly through this range of motion. Now I want you to go over the top with a butterfly spin, getting your wrist stronger. You're going to repeat a lot of the same moves every single day, but just for 30 seconds at a time so that you start to get more familiar with it. It becomes second nature to you. You want to master something, they say 10,000 times, and this is going to get you there to that 10,000 times, 10,000 spins at least. It's going to get there before you know it when you do a little bit every day. Bring that to a stop, go back the other way. Getting familiar with it, allowing yourself to master the basic moves requires a lot of time on each move, but not all at once. Just add a little bit here. Hello, it's good to see you today. Call out Ozzy, is that it? Welcome. Bring it over the top. And now go into a single hand spin. You're going to learn how to do one hand and two spins, or two-handed spins. When you start to master the long martial arts staff, you're going to have to be able to master it both with one hand at a time and then two hands. Bringing it through on each side. It's just a sideways figure eight. Think of an infinity sign. You have a circle here, a circle here. You're pushing with that thumb, going to one side of the body and then the other side of the body. Your hand is closed and your wrist is relaxed. Gradually increase the speed, spinning faster and faster around your body by squeezing your abdominal muscles tight. Stomach up and in. Small moves in your shoulders. 30 seconds to the front and the back of your body, and then go into the other hand with that basic pass. And the same thing, you're going to start to carve that figure eight circle here, on the inside and the outside. Start to speed it up. Faster and faster, squeeze this tighter. More movement in your shoulders. And then go back into the first hand again and push. And I love the Ninja Turtles. I grew up with the Ninja Turtles, of course, like a lot of people did. Maybe I didn't grow up with them, maybe when I was a little bit older. But I always loved that idea that they were Renaissance. That means they had multiple areas that they wanted to master. They wanted to master the arts. They wanted to master the martial arts, obviously. But they wanted to be multi-dimensional people. As a great martial artist, if you want to become a master of the martial arts, you have to really develop all aspects of your personality. Music is really good. Learn multiple languages. And then strengthen your body. Strengthen your mind. After you do that spin to the side, go into the other hand. Same thing. So this is that same spin from before. Here, I just bring my foot up under me and I go to the front and the back of my body. The other hand is always in this position, close to my head to guard. You want to get in that habit. Fight with your hand up. even in practice. It'll also help you, it keeps from smacking yourself with these heavier staffs. So you're going in and out, go back into the first hand, and then you're gonna reverse it all, pulling back in that reverse figure eight, this time leading with the pinky. So before you were carving your sideways figure eight in the forward spin, now you're just gonna trace that line in the reverse, but leading with a small side of the hand. Bow staff is in the top three for sure, or the bow, the martial arts long staff. I also, for practical reasons, love the martial arts cane, but probably my number one of all time will always be the katana, the Japanese sword. I love the sword the most. I think that's why I like the lightsaber, because the lightsaber allows you to practice some of the moves that you do with the sword. And I like to teach that to other people too. So you go to the side, switch hands, but not everybody will spend the time that it takes to get really good. If you want to get really good, either yaido, which is the art of drawing the sword and slicing. I don't do the katana, I use the bokken. The bokken is the Japanese wooden sword that you use to practice katana with, because the katana has what they call a live blade, which means a sharpened metal blade. And I use that for cutting or for demonstrations, because it looks more legit, right? And then you're gonna go back to that first hand and pull. But when you're teaching somebody, you teach them using the wooden sword, which is called the bokken. And then if you see kendo, I love kendo. Kendo is the shinai. It's the Japanese word. The Korean word is jutto. It's just a bamboo sword. And it's multiple pieces, and it's strapped in leather and string, so you can hit each other with it, and then you wear armor. So I love kendo, I love yaido, the art of drawing the sword. And then you have all of the kin martial arts, all the Japanese sword martial arts. And then bring it into the other hand, and then the Chinese sword. I love the Chinese sword too. But you have like the Tai Chi sword, or the Dao, the long sword, like Mulan would carry. I keep saying that movie is coming out. And you also have the sabers. Sabers are really cool, but they move completely differently. And then I love Eastern, the medieval swords, that kind of swords. The sabers and the foils, fencing. So I'm just a sword person, I think. The core, this is most practical. You can carry this down the street if you need to. Create distance between you and the threat. You can thrust, you can strike, you go down over top. You can spin it, strike with the other side. But I always love the, thank you. I love the swords. And yes, I do have some swords, but not a lot. It's hard, like I said, it's really hard to spend the amount of time. You got to spend hours and hours doing the basic moves, because you really have to develop that muscle control. Because if you think about like a sword, like an old sword match, just 1 centimeter in the wrong position, you miss, it's over for you, right? So you have to develop incredible muscle control. But that's why I like it. I like it. So I highly encourage you, if it's something you want to try, then do it. Now, we're going to go into a two-handed spin. I'm going to show you 2 ways to do it. One is with both hands, palm facing you, and you're going to spin it around your body. I'm going to just talk about the spin first. Just think of, from here, like there are only so many angles that you can move in before you're going to run into your body. So you're going to learn this one very quickly. Start with 2 hands, put it over on the side of your body. You're going to go down, and then it's going to come sweeping in front of the bottom part of your body, and then it comes out. You're going to continue to spin it, down and out, going side to side. So that's that same figure 8 spin that you did here, or infinity spin, but the other hand is on it, right? And this is also, if you look at this motion here, if you were trying to hit me in the leg, either a thrust or a strike to the side, I can, as I come down, I can clear it. I can knock it out of the way, bring this one up. smash down on top of your head. Bring this back one, smash down on top of your head, and then clear again. Clear in front of the body, spinning from side to side. And then the second way is to have your grips palm facing each other. So you're gonna push similarly, right? Down, that's a strike, striking down, clearing to the other side, and then you're gonna come up, but now your hand has to switch positions. So you're gonna learn how to switch positions. And you can practice like this before you start, or you can add 30 seconds of this to your daily practice to get really good at it. But when you go down, your hands, see my left hand palm in, right hand palm out. I'm gonna push down. When I come across to my opposite side, the right side, my left hand now has to shift or twist into the other position. Now my right hand is palm up, left hand is palm down. I go down, clear, bring it up, change the right hand, change the left hand, changing hands. So you're constantly now going to be changing the hands as you go around from one side of the body to the other side. And that's because your wrists don't twist 360 degrees. They only go so far this way and so far that way. And you're gonna get more flexibility. You're gonna go more this way and more that way than most people do. You're gonna get incredible flexibility and strength in your wrists because of this. But you can't go all the way around. So your hand, when you're in this, and I wanted you to see this because you ask me all the time, you can do this or you can't. But then when I see you in person, I realize, oh, well, you're doing the wrong technique. You're trying to do this, and then when you get to here, see that? You have to learn how to do that quick twist of the hand or both hands. And then it's gonna work for you. So let's move on. From there, I want you to go into a wrist roll. We're gonna go back to single hand spinning because I want you to get really good with your bow flow or your freestyle, your staff flow. When it comes up, when you turn this is how you warmed up, side to side. When you turn it out and away from you, open the hand, let it spin over. And then when you go back the other way, open your hand and let it spin over the back of your hand or the wrist, which is why we call it the wrist roll. You can also call it a hand roll. You can call it Doug. I don't know why I like the name Doug so much, but I don't care what you call it. Just do it. That's the point. A lot of people get stuck on words, linguistics. They want to understand it before they know it. Knowing means you can do it. Understanding means you understand the words or the definition or the philosophy. And some people are great philosophers, and they have 1 billion pages. They could write books on philosophy, but they can't spin a staff. I want you to be able to spin it first and then write your philosophy. In the middle. So when you spin, you're holding it in the middle. Now watch what happens if I just continuously spin it in addition to it falling. But if I start in the middle and I just spin in one direction, you can see I have a short side and a long side. So spinning in one direction and then back the other direction allows it to stay, your hand will now stay in the middle of the staff. But I also want you to be able to do continuous spins, right? So what you're gonna have to do is watch my hand. The staff's not moving, it slides. And it's oversimplification, but that's why I say don't be a philosopher. Take action. You need 1% philosophy, 99% action. One idea, and then 1,000 moves on that one idea, and then you know it. There's a difference between understanding and knowing. Knowing means it's like the difference between when you study Spanish or any language, Korean, Chinese, what they call Mandarin, Russian, English. When you learn a language, you want to try to speak it right away. You learn a word, hola, 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 and you go start saying it to them. and then it gets burned in, and now you know it. But if you don't, you can sit there and study, you can know 1,000 words, but if you never try saying them, then your brain doesn't really, you just understand it, but you don't really know it. You want to be able to speak the language, not just be able to understand what you hear. So this is the same thing. Learn the idea and then spin the staff. So if I put my hand here, we're talking about when you continuously spin in one direction in something like a wrist roll, you get a long end and a short end, and then it falls and hits the ground. To be able to continuously spin and not have that happen, what's happening when I'm right here is, and I don't know if you, hold on, I know how to show you this. We need the tape, right? We're gonna use the tape. We used to call this mustard, I called it mustard and ketchup. I use red tape and yellow tape. When I teach the staff, especially something like this on YouTube, it makes sense. So we're gonna say, I find the balance, just let it sit in my hand. Balance point is right about there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Go for done over perfect sometimes, right? All right, there's the center. I start with my hand in the center. I spin it, and now the center's over here. When I spin it, to keep it from doing that, when I get to here, see where the center moved? I let it slide, and my hand slides back to the center. And so then to do it continuously, you have to trust that you will get the feel for it, because you will. With more practice, you'll get more comfortable doing that. And see, all I'm doing again is after the spin, I slide it. So from here to here, and that's all that is. And the idea is simple, but most people struggle to get it, which is why I use the tape. So a lot of times that'll clear it up. So, but that's all I'm doing. There's no magic. I'm just allowing my grip to soften and just pop back down. And that's true. Finger rolls. This is a thicker staff. I gotta get more momentum. Finger rolls, same thing. As it's spinning, I'm just in small moves, I'm finding my way back to that center. And this is if you put tape on your staff like that, you'll be able to find it a little bit faster. Same thing, finger roll. So this is a continuous finger roll. Continuous finger roll is just the fingers, but you also need to be able to do a 3-finger roll, which is the 3 fingers come together, the first 3 fingers, and then the thumb assists it. So you have 1, 2, 3. When it gets to the pinky and the ring finger, the thumb is going to reach up and continue to go around. And this is why, because this is the next move. I want you to be able to do your figure 8 spin like you did before. And then when it's outside, do a wrist roll, and then inside. I just gave a little tip, Vic. Put a piece of tape on the center of your staff, and then when you're fighting to find the center again, because you do the continuous wrist roll, right? So we said if you did a continuous wrist roll in one direction, then you end up with a super long side and a short side. And if you use the tape, then when you do that wrist roll, you simply slide it back in. And so as you're practicing your wrist roll, you can practice sliding your hand back to the middle so that you're always recapturing the center of the staff, and then you can overcome this, right, by simply allowing your hand to slide and move the staff back into, or your hand back into the center of the staff. So that's really all you missed. We just talked, and we also did we've been doing a lot of the two-handed spinning, and then with the same grip, and then two-hand by changing, and with the opposite grip. So from there to there. But I want to talk a lot about freestyle flow today. I just got a package. I'll get that in a second. All right, so let's talk about freestyle and flow. Going back to this figure 8, right? So now you have the figure 8 to the front of the body in the positive. When you come to the outside, you spin over the back of your hand. When you come to the inside, you spin over the thumb side of the hand. So you have backside, inside. So outside, this is my right side, right hand, when it goes over the pinky. And then on the inside, it goes over the thumb. So you do that spin, you get your figure eight going really fast so that you can work on your flow or your freestyle. Add those in, and then try it in that second way, where we're to the front and the back of the body, and then it's behind me. I do that spin, it's in front of me, and I do the spin. So I do the spin behind me and in front of me. Now, we did the reverse spin. The reverse spin also will accommodate the wrist roll and the wrist roll, but it's just the opposite. So when I'm on the right hand, right side, when I'm pulling it back, now it's gonna go over the thumb, now it's gonna go over the pinky. When I put it out to the side and I do it inside, outside, when it's behind me, or we'll do it in front of me, when it's in front of me, behind me, front of me is the pinky, behind me is the thumb. So from here, and see now how my hand is moved from the center, but when I come back here, it's back into here. Oh. Let me see if maybe I moved. Is that any better? Can you guys hear me now? Who can hear me and who can't? Just put the comments or the, still nothing? How about now? Oh, okay. I don't know. So keep trying things, Vic. Maybe I think most of you guys have heard me most of the time, right? Okay, perfect. All right. So front, back. Do that on both hands, and then back to the finger rolls. Good. I want to do the finger rolls continuously. I want to do that over and over again, and then the thumb. It's all right. I taught the kids class in the middle school yesterday at the private school, and I had to teach to the kids in the room and then the kids on the Zoom. Let me tell you, I have a newfound respect for all the teachers out there who are teaching with all of these technological requirements, all these changes because of COVID. Teachers are having to really step up their game. And it's a good thing. It's good for all of us, right? To be challenged outside of our comfort zone. But yeah, no worries. No need to apologize. It's all good. So continuous. And then after you do continuous, go into, when you get back down to that pinky and the thumb, or the pinky, middle finger, whatever this is, grab it. Yeah, we'll keep politics out of it. Because you or I don't have any control over it. If I want to do the things I want to do, I've got to play by their rules, right? Anyway, my point is that I had a lot of sound issues on my live stream using Zoom or whatever it was, GoToMeeting and all the classroom technology. But it just gave me a great appreciation for these teachers who are doing that all day, every day, and all the links they've got to send out and all the documents they got to stick in the drop boxes and all the other things that they do, Google Docs that they have to do for the kids. It's like increase their rate of work or their amount of work by 10. Yeah, it's all right. Just anger's not going to serve either one of us. So I'm just saying, let it go as much as you can. You'll be angry. We'll all get angry. But when you can think about it, when you're like, oh, this isn't helping me, try to let it go. All right, so anyway, behind the back and over the head. This is one of my favorite things to do. I start here with the right hand, and I'm going to pull it out with the left. I put it behind my back, and I pull it out with the right. Oh, and by the way, I'm not always good at letting it go either. I'm not asking you to do something that I'm super good at. I struggle with it, but then as soon as I recognize it's making me a poor teacher, because now I'm thinking about that instead of thinking about the people I'm working with, then I have to say, if it doesn't help me, I'm not going to give it any more energy. I'm going to starve it to death, that negative feeling or negative emotion, especially if I can't control it. So now, behind your back, when you bring it in, you're simply just grabbing it under and pulling it out over your head. But first, let's go back to our warm-up. On the warm-up pass, we're going side to side. And just keep making sure those packages just are out there. You just dropped them off and knocked on my window and left them. They don't come in anymore, FedEx. The Amazon drivers do. All right, so I just bring that same motion up over my head and out. And this is how you start to get really good at over the head and behind the back, the simple way. Basic way, especially for freestyle, for flow. So now you're gonna go out, down, grab it, arm straight up, turn it in, turn it out, behind the back, bring it straight up, turn it in, by turning it in, palm just toward you, turn it in, out, up, and over. And one of the best things that you're gonna get out of over the head and behind the back is flexibility in your shoulders, stronger shoulders. Good morning. It gets a lot of blood in there, and the plasma that's in the blood, the oxygen that's in the blood is gonna heal stuff that's in there. It's gonna break up adhesions. That's when the muscle gets stuck together, and you get tightness, and then you get pain. So it's gonna loosen all that up if you go slowly. But you warm up here, side to side, and then you bring that up over your head, and you do this for 30 seconds at a time, and you build up to it. Because you want to increase your endurance in the muscle. After 30 seconds, then go behind your back, out and in, 30 seconds, and see what that's doing is that's pulling my arm back in this position, right? You're ideally, if your body's straight, you want to have that kind of flexibility. You want to have this kind of flexibility. That shows that your shoulder, or your shoulder has more flexibility and it's stronger, it's healthier, it's less likely to get injured as you get older. So if you start to get older and you start to blame age because your body's not moving like it used to move, you have to reassess. You have to ask yourself, is it age or is it lifestyle? Almost always it's gonna be lifestyle. So from here, comes out, over the head, behind the back, over the head, behind the back, and as you're doing this, your hands being over your head, I'm gonna show you how to do that continuous helicopter spin over your head. That's just challenging you in a way that we don't normally do. Think about when do you normally keep, unless you have a job where your hands are up all day, which most of us don't, we don't normally bring them up over more than this. And so it gets weaker and weaker. And I've had, in the last week, I've had two older people tell me in person, well, when you get older, your shoulders just get weak. And I said, no, it's not because you're getting older, it's because you're not using your shoulders. For the last 60 years, you haven't lifted your hands above your arm. And if you're a woman, a lot of women don't do it because it shows their belly, and they're super belly conscious. And for some men. And if you're a man, you just stop doing it. Because when do you have to do that? Except for when someone says, honey, can you reach the high thing or whatever? And then that's when they get injured. And women get injured when they reach from the back seat and pull something forward. And it's not because of age, it's because of the way we stop using the body. So this is gonna get your shoulders, your body stronger than ever. So it's not just fun, but it's practically important to keep you healthy and strong for the rest of your life. All right, so from here over the head, behind the back, over the head, behind the back. Do this 30 seconds, going in one direction. When you drop it, pick it up. And I always say, when you drop it, because I've never worked out with it that I haven't dropped it at least once. Probably at least 5 or 10 times. Then go back the other way, behind your back, over the head, and challenge yourself. Allow the blood to start to flow. Now let's talk about the butterfly spin, where we just go over the hand. This is one of your basic warm-up spins, right? Real simple. There are two ways to do the butterfly spin. There's this direction and there's this direction, right? I call it overhand and underhand. But basically, I call this overhand because the top hand is taking it. Later you can slide it down. But this is an overhand butterfly spin. But when it slides in the opposite direction, that's the other butterfly spin. It's just the same butterfly spin, but done in both directions. 360 this way, or clockwise and counterclockwise. Same is true for both hands. In this case, my right hand is on top. Good. Awesome. Keep going with all that. And then in this way, I put the left hand on top. There's the left hand butterfly spin. Clockwise, it'll be counterclockwise for you because of the camera. And then counterclockwise, or whatever, the other way. Overhand, underhand. But that's the butterfly spin. And then you'll see some people will do a butterfly spin where their hands are open and one's higher and one's lower, right? Like this, and they can get it going really fast, which is cool. I like you to learn it with your wrists touching and your hands coming together and your wrists touching for control. And by isolating this motion, you're gonna get really strong really fast. So practice it that way. And then later, if you want to, you can do the hands, one hand up, one hand's down. Why with control? Because I want you to learn how to use this to fight. And for no other reason than you have to defend yourself physically. And if you can defend yourself, you're more confident. End of story, right? And start with a weapon. Striking, super simple. You have a big stick, they've got a knife. You don't want them to get close enough with a knife, especially if you have nothing in your hand. Then you're in big trouble, right? But now, if you have a big stick and they have a knife, now you have some options. You have a force multiplier right here. You have leverage. You have something that's hard that can smash them before they get close enough to get you, stick you with that knife. And then I want you to learn after that how to throw some basic punches, how to move to the side, how to duck, how to move over, how to hit them here, move over, hit them here, how to maybe throw a knee, throw a kick. And why? Because if you know how to defend yourself, then your confidence grows. And hopefully you never have to use it. But it's also good for your overall body. It's gonna make you stronger, healthier. You're gonna have more mobility, more flexibility, more endurance, more strength. As you get older, at every age in life, that translates into better well-being. Your body's better, your mind's better, your mind lives inside your body. So anytime you increase flexibility in any part of your body, you get a more flexible mind. Anytime you increase endurance in any part of your body, you get more endurance in your mind. You can stay with problems longer. You're more flexible, you're gonna stay with problems longer, strengthen your body, strengthen your mind. It's all connected. Your brain lives inside. So anytime you strengthen your body, you're strengthening your mind. Now that doesn't always go for the other way around. You can do all the Sudoku or crossword puzzles you want, and your body's falling apart because you're sitting in a chair for 12 hours a day. So if you can, why not? Do it, right? All right, let's talk about freestyle. I want you to go into a figure eight, and then I want you to put it into the other hand and continue with the figure eight. And then put it into the other hand, and this is the starting point. This is where we jump off. We get started with your freestyle. So it's a spin, then it goes to the other hand and spin. So the first part of freestyle is going from one hand to the other hand. The second part of freestyle, and this for today, because they don't necessarily have to be in an order, is to go from this is now the front. I'm gonna make this the front. From one direction, this is a forward figure eight spin or a forward endless spin, an infinity spin. Then I'm just gonna turn my body and face the back. And what happens to my hand from this forward spin, when I turn my body, it's gonna want to continue to spin because of the momentum that I created in the forward spin, but it's naturally going to change directions. So when I'm facing the front and I start with a forward spin, when I turn and face the back 180 degrees over here, I'm naturally in that reverse spin. And then when I turn, it goes back into the forward spin. So that's number two. Number one is going from one spin into the other hand. Number two is going from one direction into the opposite direction. They're all in two directions. So forward to reverse. Then I want you to put one and two together. And I want you to walk forward, going hand to hand, And you can do it every time, or you can spin a couple times and then the other one a couple times. But then I want you to turn around, and now you're in the reverse, and change to the other hand in the reverse. I'll show you, this will be the front, this will be the back. So I'm walking forward, and then I turn around, and now I'm spinning in reverse, but I'm changing, going from hand to hand, hand. And the way you take it is the exact same way we started the class, from one hand to the other. It's just pinky to pinky, palms up, and it goes out. But I'm going forward, and now I'm changing. So that's number 3. Number 1 was going from one hand to the other hand. Number 2 is changing the direction of the spin from forward to reverse by simply turning the body. And you can start in reverse and turn and go forward. So it doesn't really matter which is which. You always have 2. Go one way and then it'll go the other way. And the third one was weaving those 2 together. So from forward, turning into the reverse, turning back to the forward. Then number 4 is I want you to spin it behind your back and over the head, and then go back into a spin. I don't care which spin, but I want you to be able to work that in from the start. This is all about freestyle flow. Behind the back, over the head, back into a spin. Behind the back, over the head, back into a spin. And go the other way, behind the back, over the head, into a spin. Now, the most obvious spin for me, and we're all different, so it might not be the most obvious spin for you, but the most obvious spin for me is this forward spin, behind the back, over the head, forward spin. Put them all together, walking forward, hand to hand, changing directions, behind the back, over the head, back into the spin. And that's your workout for today. That's your exercise or your homework, is to think of them in 4 steps. Starting with moving forward, going from one hand to the next, changing directions by simply turning, and then going behind the back, up over the head, and then back into the rest of your motions. And then from there, what comes next is going to start to occur to you. Maybe you throw in that wrist roll, right? While you're moving forward, wrist roll over the other direction, wrist roll as you turn, go behind the back, up. Maybe the wrist roll is up and over your head, back into, and then add, and again, finger rolls, right? Add some move into the rest of them, behind your back, over your head, finger roll, and just weave them together like that. Build your skill, build your flow by thinking 1 step, 2 steps, 3rd step, but 1 step at a time, and then put those 2 together, and then take a next step, and then put the first 2 together and add the next step. But always start from 0. 1, 2, 3. When you're doing freestyle, later you'll start at number 38, and then it'll go to number 4, and then you'll jump back up to 112, or whatever it is, because you'll have, your brain will just instinctively throw things at you, and you'll come up with new things, and it'll be really awesome. Everybody will be, whoa, watching it. But for now, as you learn, step 1, walking and changing hands. Step 2, changing directions. Step 3, behind the back, over the head, back into, and then after that, adding wrist rolls, and when you're ready, those finger rolls, and whatever else you know how to do. There's no wrong way to do it. None. Never, ever is there ever a wrong way. It's just different. Add it, figure out. You're going to come up with things that I've never even thought of if you keep doing it, or when you keep doing it. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Thanks so much for watching. Please check out the links below if you haven't done so, if you need a staff.